हम हमारा जो सेशन का मकसद मरगला बैकयार्ड अल्ट्रा जो है लाइव इंटरेक्शन सेक्शन है, जो हमारा ये सेकंड सेशन है जिसमें हम मरीन गीर्ट्स को हमने जो है द गेस्ट स्पीकर इनवाइट किया हुआ है. So first going to the guest and the host with a team of Margalla Trail Runners. सबसे पहले तो आज मैं आपको मरगला जो है बैकयार्ड अल्ट्रा के बारे में थोड़ा सा बता दूंगा, ठीक है. उससे पहले I will just give you brief introduction of Margalla Trail Runners. Margalla Trail Runners is a trail running club based in Islamabad, Pakistan. Margalla Trail Runners, we love to run on mountains, we love to run on trails, we love to run on hills, जिसमें हम वीकली हमारे सेशंस होते हैं जिसमें हम सैटरडे संडेज को रन करते हैं. सैटरडेज को हम इजी रन करते हैं, संडे को हम जो है लॉन्ग रन करते हैं जिसमें 20 किलोमीटर से लेके 20 माइल्स तक हम रन करते हैं. सो Margalla Trail Runners जो है थर्ड एडिशन ऑफ Margalla Backyard Ultra going to organize in Pakistan, Islamabad in Pakistan. So it's going to be happen on the 9th of December. Margalla Backyard Ultra की रजिस्ट्रेशन जो है ओपन है. इसी सिलसिले में हम जो है अभी रिसेंटली बैकयार्ड अल्ट्रा हुई थी नेक्स्ट वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप, जिसमें बहुत सारे जो टॉप ऑफ द टॉप एथलीट्स जिन्होंने जो है रन किया था वहाँ पे परफॉर्म किया था. तो हम जो है जिससे हमें टाइम मिल रहा है, जो टॉप ऑफ द टॉप एथलीट्स हैं तो हम उनसे टाइम ले रहे हैं, जिससे आपको जो है उनके जो एक्सपीरियंस है, उनका जो मशवरे हैं वो आप तक पहुँचा रहे हैं कि वो जो है आप यू कैन एनी regarding the running, regarding the ultras, regarding the endurance running, आप उनसे सवाल पूछ सकते हैं. उनके जो है एक्सपीरियंस आप जो है आप अल्ट्रास में कैसे एंटर सकते हैं. तो लेट्स फर्स्ट let me add to the our team member Waqar Khatak. And welcome to our guest speaker. वेलकम वकार, कैसे हैं, क्या हाल है?
Hello Javed, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Very well, thank you very much.
Well, now I would love to introduce our guest speaker, Merijn Geerts from the Belgium, one of the most ultra runner and one of the most greatest runners. He has done the 200 loops 2 times. He is the only second runner after the Phil Gore. Welcome, Merijn. Hello.
Yeah,
how are you?
Nice. I'm fine, thank you. Nice to be here with you.
Welcome into the Margalla Backyard, in the live session of Margalla Backyard Ultra from Margalla Trail Runners. So you are the amazing 2 times 100 loops in Backyard Ultra. It's so amazing things. More than 4 days you were continuously running. So let's first, we wanted to ask you, you have to share about yourself, share your experience, share your journey, share your personal regarding how you started running, how you started ultras.
Well, maybe you should know I just turned 49 years now, and I started running around the time I was 37. So I wasn't that young anymore. I did do a little bit of sports when I was younger, but nothing special, nothing much. And then when I was 37, I wanted to get healthier, eat healthier, lose some weight, so do some exercise. So I decided I can go for a run when my children were like doing the soccer practice or tennis or music or something. So that's how I started running. And then some friend told me maybe you can run a street race. So I did. and then after 2 years, I ran a marathon. In not actually not in Belgium, but in the Netherlands. And yeah, after that, I kept on running, but the marathons, I did 2 or 3 marathons, but I didn't like them that much to train for. So I just ran with friends, but not very long distances. And then I guess in 2017, when I was so that's yeah, I was running like 5 or 6 years then. I got to know people who did trail running in nature, in the woods, so I liked that very much. And then I also, if you start trail running, you can do that in distances like 10 kilometers or 20 or 30, but there are also very long distance trail races. So I got to know they exist, and I tried some. I did some 35-kilometer trail race, and then a 40-kilometer, and then a 50. And in 2018, I came across, when I was looking on the internet, um, the first backyard. It's a race that's called Another One Bites the Dust in Belgium. It's not an official backyard distance, so it's not 6.7 kilometers. So you will not find it in the statistics of the official backyard ultras. But this was my first experience, and 1 month before, I did my longest distance in a trail race was 50 kilometers, and in this race, out of nothing, I did I think 190 kilometers. So that's like 30 hours. So that's when the ultra running started for me in 2018. And then I found out in Belgium, only in Belgium. Belgium is a very small country, but there's some very interesting trail races and ultra trail races over here, and also in Europe. So um, I started doing 100-mile trail races. And then in 2020, it was COVID back then. So I couldn't. Well, you had Laz's backyard races, obviously, and I saw them on the internet, but there was no chance for me to go over there. Um, it was too far to travel, and you had to win a golden coin, but there were no races near me. But with COVID in 2020, Laz decided to have the satellite champions for the first time, um, championships. Um, and so Belgium made a team. As you know, every country makes his own team, um, and we run all together. And that's when me and Karel Sabbe, maybe you know Karel Sabbe, who did some very long um, FKTs, fastest known times. Um, and we broke the world record back then, and made it. I was the assist, so I made it to 74 hours, and Karel 75. Um, and from there it all evolved. I love ultra running, trail running, ultra trail running. I love the backyards. I did a few 24-hour races, which I don't like that much, but not as much as the other types of ultra running. But I find them very interesting to do. So that's uh, that's what I try to do. I don't know if there's anything more you like to know.
Ah, yes, Marijn, just wanted to, it's kind of you have a long, you don't have any kind of a, I think I would say that it's not a long journey of your ultras, but so your performance is amazing. So it's so amazing. That means
Thank
even
you.
you in the national championship in Belgium, you and your friend, I forget his name, you did more than 100 loops.
Yeah.
4 days, and you broke the since 100 barrier of 100 loops. and now it's in second time you did 100 loops. So how you manage things? It's all about running, or it's all about kind of in backyard it's management, to which more important?
Well, in backyard you have to. There's a lot of factors that have to be that you have to make sure that you have to do the right way. But it depends on what you want from a backyard, because the backyard is also a very, as you probably know, a very social type event. You can come over, you're at the start every hour with everyone, you can talk to everyone, you can have a good time, and you can run like 5 loops or 10 loops and maybe run further than you have ever run before. If you do 24-hour, then you've run 100 miles in 24 hours. But if you really want, if you come to a backyard and you want to reach your limit, you want to go as far as you possibly can go, that's something completely different than when you just show up and you want to have some fun and quit when you don't like it anymore or when it hurts a little bit, which is okay. So there's um, like for one thing, you have to take care of yourself. You have to make sure that you eat and drink the right what you should eat and drink. So um, because because of the fact that you are at the start every hour, you can bring everything you want to eat, to drink, or maybe the organization has it for you, which means it's easy because you have access to whatever kind of food and drink that you want. But you can also make some mistakes and maybe eat the wrong things at the wrong time, and um, that's what happens in ultra running often, that you get like um, yeah, gut problems with your digestion, and which can make you stop. So that's what you have to figure out maybe in your training. Um, or Of course, there's some things I can say about it, which is you should try to eat normal food. Um, you can drink sports drinks, you can take some gels, but if you want to go for 3 or 4 days in a row and you're only taking bars and gels and sports drinks, that's not enough. You need some good, normal, healthy food to keep you going, and maybe not eat like every hour, because if you're eating, or maybe not eat too much every hour, because your stomach needs to have some time off to give it a little rest once in a while. So that's a balance you have to find for yourself. Um, and then mentally, um, if you want to go as far as you can go, um, you should come with no goal, because if you show up and you say it would be very very nice if I can run 24 hours or 10 hours or 48 hours, then you've created a limit for yourself, and then when you get to this 24 hours, you're probably going to stop, because um, like loop 22 or 23, your legs might hurt, and in loop 25 4 also, and they will hurt in loop 25. But if you say I can, if you told yourself I can run until 24, um, then you won't have the will to go on after that um, with your sore legs. So if you have how do you say, an empty mind, if you don't have a goal, you show up and you say to yourself, I'll go on. You only have to do one loop every hour, and when you finish the loop within the hour, you just go out again. And when you time out, when you're too slow, okay, that's when you've reached your limit. um, so of course you can have like mini goals, You can, if you're doing it, you can look forward to running 10 loops or 15 or 20 or 24 as a mini goal, just but not don't show up with I'd like to run 24 hours. You can if you want to. If that's your goal and you're happy after the 24 hours, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to find out what's my real limit, you don't say to yourself, it would be nice to get to 100 hours. It doesn't matter if you go to 90 to 100 or even more. Yeah.
So that means the mind is more important. So you are saying that not physically we have to restrict ourselves. We have to do a 10 loops, 20 loops, 24 loops. Thus we have to. Uh, we don't have to. It's happened to me in the first Backyard Ultra. I wanted to do a 12 loops. Then after 12 loops, I was feeling that I'm finished. So that
Mm-hmm.
means we have to carry our goals. That means you already also mentioned in the earlier pre-interview of bigs. That's in as you mentioned that mini goals, and then every time you have to do just one more, just one more. So that
Yeah.
will to keep us motivating, keep those who love to
Mm-hmm.
run in Backyard Ultra.
Yes, of course you have to take care for yourself. If you show up with like I said, no goal in your head, but you don't take care of yourself, you don't eat, you don't drink, you don't rest well, you don't have the right pace, your body will break down. So you have to. That's what ultra running is about, because sometimes people are talking about the pain cave and how you have to be in the pain cave for a very long time. Actually, if you want to do a good backyard, you have to try to stay out of the pain cave as long as possible. So you have to take care of yourself as good as you can to make it as easy as you can. So you don't run too fast, you don't run too slow, you walk as much as you can without being too slow, and you eat what you have to eat. You are aware of yourself every hour. Um, Maybe you could make a plan for what you think you will need to eat to do every hour, and then so you try to take care of yourself as much as possible. And but after that, when you do all that right, your legs are still gonna hurt. It's gonna be difficult, but difficult can work too. So yeah, it's all in the mind, but yeah, you have to do the physical things correct first, if you know what I mean. Um,
Okay, thank you. Marine, just wanted to know that everybody has own kind of a just means we taking a food or water. So generally, how much water intake you are taking in every hour? And already you mentioned that we don't need to kind of go for and eat every hour, take food, but depend on we have to give rest to the also stomach too. So how
mhm.
much water intake you are taking in every hour?
Well, that depends very much on how on uh, on the temperature. Is it warm? Is it cold? Um, is it raining? Is it is it what if it when it's hot? What time? What type of? Is it humid or dry? So I feel you can also drink too much. So it's a it's a it's a good question, but it's not like you could say to anybody at any time. You have to drink half a liter every hour and then you'll be fine. It's not like that. So you have to be aware when it's hot. You have to drink more, and I feel like it's quite okay when it's on a hot day, just to drink as much as your thirst is telling you. Usually that works very well. It's when you run a marathon or when you run a 20 kilometers and you want or a 10K and you want to do as your best time ever, that's something else. Then you can calculate, or if you're doing a triathlon, you can calculate what you should drink every hour. But when you do backyards, you need the experience to feel what do I need. So when it's hot, you drink a lot when it's necessary, but realize sometimes you have, I don't know how it's where you live, but it can be hot during the day and quite cold during the night. So when you've been drinking a lot during the day and then it gets cold, don't keep drinking as much, because that's easy. If you have a plan, I'm gonna drink a lot, and then it gets like 10 degrees, 5 degrees, and you keep drinking a lot and you're drinking too much, which will make your maybe or give you too much fluid in your body. So um, yeah, it's something you have to be aware of. Um, um, but I feel in a backyard you can't put a number to it. Um, and so I usually drink every hour. I don't eat necessarily every hour, but I drink something. And when, as I said, when it's hot, I drink a lot. When it's not so hot, I drink less. Um, and also, if it's not so hot, you don't have to take anything with you on the course, because it's only 1 hour or 50 minutes or 45 minutes. You'll be back there. You can drink. When it's really hot, you should take something with you. If it's not for drinking, maybe for like getting pouring over your head to cool down a little bit, um, something like that.
Hi, Merijn.
Fakar,
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Merijn. I have a few questions from our stream on Facebook.
Hmm.
Bilal Hassan, know how to manage sleep during the backyard ultra run.
I think I can
So,
see the question. Yeah. Um,
okay,
well, uh,
lovely.
good question. But for me, until this last race at Big Dogs, I almost didn't sleep at all. So last year when I did 100 hours in Belgium with Evo, when we first broke the 100 hours, I I felt like I'm probably the worst sleeper of all people in a backyard. I just don't, when I'm running, I don't need that much sleep. So usually the first night I don't bother trying to sleep because I'm too excited and I'm very bad at sleeping on command. So uh, if I would feel tired, I would just try to sleep 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But in the first night, that never happens. And then from usually the second night, not so much. But when I feel tired, I try to sleep. Um, Only this year, so all the other backyards I did, I slept very little. And now with Bigs, we the race was on Saturday and we flew on Wednesday, so only a few days before the race. And I don't have much experience with jet lag. I don't travel that much, so I thought it would be okay. But okay, we flew over there. We had 2 days, and then the race started. And from day one, I felt like it looks like I'm more tired than I'm used to. So I was a little bit worried how it would go. Um, and my second night was I think, my most difficult night in all the backyards I did. Uh, the most difficult second night because I was actually really tired and I didn't really find a solution um, other than try to sleep a little bit, but it didn't work that good. Um, but then from the third and the fourth night, I ended up sleeping more than I ever did. So in Bigs, you have the night course, which is on the road, where it's easier to um, to go fast. So I try to go faster at night and have like 10 minutes, between 5 and 12 minutes, I think, to sleep every hour. Just lay down, close my eyes, um, uh, try to cover myself from. And we were in a tent, and my wife, who was my crew, she made sure there was no light shining in my eyes. She covered me up, and it worked quite well. Um, and I feel during the day you don't have to sleep. When the sun is out, um, you always you feel awake. So it's only the nights that are actually difficult for for the sleep.
Thank you very much for such a detailed answer.
Mm-hmm.
Another question which I want to know, and that's about how much calories intake. Like Javed asked about the water intake, the fluids, like per hour, or how much calories you basically take during your backyard ultra.
Well,
Is there any specific or
I don't really know because I have a planning. I make a plan for myself. I didn't do it in the beginning, but since a few years now, I make a plan, which is I think I can show you a little bit of it, how it looks like. Um, so this is like a schedule where there's every hour over here. Then I have planned when I think I will eat something, and like when I plan I will have a massage or other stuff when I change shoes. So it's like I make a planning in advance, and then my crew, they write down what I actually did. So if I plan that I want to eat at 6 o'clock and it doesn't work for some reason, I'm not hungry or I'm hungry at 5 o'clock already or maybe later, then they write down what I actually ate. So which makes it easy if you're a few hours later to check did did I eat enough. Um, but as an answer to your question, I don't count how many calories I eat, and I also think it's impossible. Yeah, when you, as I said, when you would do a triathlon, you could calculate I need to eat that many calories each hour. But in a backyard, when you are running 3 or 4 or maybe 5 days in a row, you, it's impossible to say I want every hour that many calories because your stomach would not tolerate it that many hours after each other. So I feel you have to um, try to eat like normal, like a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, and then in the middle of the night something, and that's the base of your nutrition plan. And then between these things, you eat some smaller things. You have to figure out for yourself what that should be. It can be gels, it can be like other things you like, biscuits, uh, chips, whatever works for you. Um, but I don't think counting calories actually works entirely in the backyard. Um, so, um,
thank you?
Doc, you have a question, Doc?
Well, thank you so very much. I mean, it's a great pleasure to watch you in person. I mean, like, really, it's amazing. Thank you, Wakar. Thank you, Wakas. Thank you, MTR. So, just coming back, few questions, of course, I have. I really appreciate how you simplify the whole phenomena. I mean, you made it look like the ultra running is very easy, which is actually not. But I'm very happy that you simplified the whole thing. Thank you for that. And my question is that, did you ever have any running injury, any major running injury, and how you managed that and how you got out of it?
well, I never had any major injuries. I'm not sure. I'm very lucky with a strong body, but I think I also do believe that's what ultra running is about. People who don't know much about running, and they when someone tells them how far we run, they think they probably think we must be very hard on ourselves, very tough. But it's ultra running to me. It's not about being hard for yourself. It's about you learn how to take care for yourself, and that taking care for yourself is something everybody should do in their life. Um, but especially in ultra running, when you feel I very often I have a little pain when I'm running, like in my leg or wherever, and I always try to assess whether it's something I should do something with. I should run less. I should maybe run slower, walk more, whether it's during training or during the race. Of course, during the race, there's only so much you can do, because when something really breaks down, you should probably stop, and that's where, of course, there wouldn't be any ultra running without pain. You have pain, running with pain. Ultra running involves this. So it's up to you to analyze, is this the type of pain, a general type of pain that allows me to run, or is it like an injury that's gonna prevent me from running afterwards if I keep on running. And then there's lots of, in a backyard especially, there's lots of small things you can do. If you feel like you're developing some blisters on your feet, you feel a hot spot, of course you can take off your shoes, change socks, change shoes, but you can even, like if you tie your shoelaces different, then you create different pressure points in your feet. So that might be something very small you can do just to prevent you from getting blisters. For example, in the spine race, I don't know if you know the spine race. It's in England. It's a very long ultra trail race in winter where it's very cold, very wet. And I had a tendon injury. I was developing a tendon injury on the where your foot, if this is your foot, where your foot goes over in the leg, over here, probably from having my shoelaces tied too much. And I made a mistake, I made an error, I ignored this pain. So at one point I started feeling the pain, and I ignored it. So it became worse and worse and worse. And then after a long time, it was so bad that I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I still finished the race, but I had to slow down a lot towards the end. And it could have stopped my race. So I should have noticed the pain, maybe tie my shoelaces different, or take other shoes when there was a checkpoint with a drawback. But so that's what you. So when someone says it's all mental, it's also about knowing how your body is doing. So I feel like I'm probably lucky to have no major injuries, but I'm also good at managing how everything works. So I hope that's an answer that works for you.
Thank you. And that is actually very, amazing way to explain things. I have a couple of more questions if time allows that, and don't want to, miss this opportunity. Another question is that, especially when it comes to nutrition, we keep the gels for the race, that during the race we'll take these kind of gels. But sometimes this messes up our gut system because we are not very used to taking that much quantity. So how do you manage that, or how you advise us to manage that? Should we keep the traditional, conventional food in the during the race, or should we just experiment more with the gels? Thank you.
Well, if you really want to take a lot of gels, then you have to practice. Then you have to use them in your training and in your practice, and make sure your body gets used to it. But that's not what I do. I do use gels, but not that much. Especially in backyards, I try to rely on normal food as much as possible, and I have some gels as backup. And also, for example, when the intensity gets higher, it's more difficult to digest normal food. So in an easy backyard where the course is flat, or where you don't have to be that fast, it's easy to eat like a few slices of pizza. And if you would do a marathon and you want to break your own record, it's impossible to to eat some pizza. It wouldn't work. You need the gels you need gels there. So you have to know what's the intensity of the exercises I'm going to do. and that's what big dogs now made it a little bit difficult for me, because the day course was difficult, so my intensity was higher. So I did eat more gels, because at some point it was too difficult to eat the normal food. So then and which was not perfect for me, because I like races where you can eat normal food, and I like them more. So when I did a 24-hour race last year, I did take more gels, which I didn't like that much. But so yeah, that's what you should know. If your intensity is low, you can eat anything you want. Almost depends on the person, but when the intensity is high and you want to do something high intensity, you should practice taking your gels or your sports drinks, and taking them and keeping them down. Yeah.
We have
Amazing,
a couple of
amazing.
questions.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
We have a couple of questions from on Facebook. Zaira Sayed from Lahore. Thank you so much for answering. How different is training plan for a backyard ultra as compared to the marathon?
Good question. Well, I didn't do many marathons, so I'm much more experienced with the backyards and with ultra running in general. But I feel like you have to be um, fit. You have to make sure you are in a good shape. Is it very important? You could easily take a marathon training plan as a base for doing a backyard. As long as you like doing it, because that's what I believe in. If you want to run one marathon in your life, you can make the sacrifice to follow a training plan that you may not like doing, and you can do the one marathon. But if running and trail running is your hobby and your passion, you should make sure that your training is that you like the training, that you like running. For example, most of my trainings, I like running with friends a lot. So I have some running groups near where I live. I don't have them there. I'm just in the group. It's WhatsApp. WhatsApp is very easy for this, or like social media. We have so there's 3 or 4 days in the week that I'm just running with friends, and then as they always say, you should train specifically for the race you want to do. If you want to do a race, if it's a backyard or if it's a trail race with a lot of elevation, of course you should train the elevation. It's not very smart to go do a race with a lot of elevation and only run on a flat surface. If you want to do something with a lot of speed, then you should do some speed work. So you maybe what's different from taking a marathon plan is, if you want to do ultras where you're going on for a very long time, you should also make sure that your body is used to being this long on your legs. So if you want to do backyards, aside from something that looks like a marathon training plan, you should do long days out where you're like 8 hours or 10 hours on your legs, but you don't have to run necessarily. For example, over here we have a very nice region with lots of small hills, woods, very nice nature, and I often take my friends. We go there for a 40 or 50 kilometer, like run hike. Don't run all the time, but just be on your legs for a long time. So yeah, I think that sums it up. Was there any other question?
Atif Alfi. Yeah, sorry to take the time long. Other question from Afi. Just he's asking that how when body stops and how you push your limits and how still you move forward for the just one more loop.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I did get the question right. Can you say it again?
Yeah, Atif Alvi is asking that when your body stops, when you are saying that you are finished, and still you wanted to run, and still you wanted to push your limits and one more loop far, and you have to recover well, and that way how you can go further.
So I think the question is, okay. Yeah, you know, when you're doing a backyard and you want to go on for a long time, you know your legs will hurt. Especially with me, it's usually the upper legs that yeah, they just start to hurt, and it's not the same pain, not the same sharp pain as when you have like a muscle injury or something. It just move, it hurts. But you can walk and run with sore legs. And one of the magical things in ultra running is when you do everything right, the pain sometimes goes away too. And when I say do everything right, and that's, I think he's asking about recovery. One thing is, if you eat well, uh, it's amazing what that does for your body. And if I say eat well, it's not like only the gels and the very sugary things. It's like if you can eat a normal meal, it can just help revive your body, and some massage. So if you have someone that's experienced, if you have a physio that can come with you, um, and what goes quicker is if you have a massage gun. I don't know if you know that, but that's if you have a very good physio with his or her hands, they can help you. But a massage gun, you only have a few minutes. That goes quicker. So it can help feeling better. It's always the mind that should tell you we can do one more loop. And let's say if you're always running 45 minutes or 50 minutes, um, and everything hurts, and your body is telling your mind we should stop. If you're still capable of doing loops of 45 or 50 minutes, you can go 5 or 6 minutes slower, and that will give you. And going slower, it doesn't mean you have to run slow. No, you walk a little bit more. And if you walk a little bit more, then your legs can rest a little bit more, and your heart rate goes down, so your body has to work less. So that's something that can help you push a little bit further. In my case, in the last loop in Bigs, in the 100 loop, when I had to stop, everything was getting more difficult, and I tried to go a little bit slower, but my loops were getting 56 minutes. And if it's 56 minutes, you can't go 5 or 6 minutes slower, because then you're too late. So that's what happened with me. But if you have
Yeah, we were
50 or
watching live.
45, yeah.
We were watching live that time. You were just the way loop was going to start at 101. Then you
Mhm.
were, I think you were 20 to 30 seconds or
Yeah,
40
it was.
seconds late, and it's how was your feeling that time? You were just 30 to 40 seconds late. You have to try to reach on before time and start the loop again.
Well, it's difficult to say now, because when I look back now, I feel like I it it was a very positive experience, but I feel like I should have just been a little bit faster, get in time, and try to continue. But when I was doing it at that moment, I was just in the first half of this loop. It was so hot. So I felt like my body was overheating. You can feel like your body heat the temperature is rising, and your body can't get rid of the heat, and the only thing you can do is like slow down, or I go lie in a river or something, but that wasn't possible. So I try to slow down the first half of this loop, just to let my body recover a little bit, and then try to be fast enough the second half of the loop to be just in time. And and then I think mentally, I never worked as hard in a backyard as I did in this one, so I was a little bit too satisfied with myself to reach the 100 loops, I think. And I just, for a moment, I lost the will to fight and to tell myself I can just do one more loop and then we'll see about the next one. And so it feels like it was a moment of weakness combined with it was a very difficult loop physically. So yeah, at the moment I was pleased with it, and now I'm thinking I could have done more. But that's
Even
how it goes.
I personally, I was thinking that in the bigs, at the end, you are and the Harvey and the Phil will be fight. Then I saw that you were a couple of seconds late, and Phil, after the 101 loop, he gave up, and then the I think Ukraine guy did 1 and 2 loops. Then Horde and Harvey did. So Harvey was so amazing that he was even I was watching that after 72 loops he was doing is he did the fastest loop start of the fourth day.
Mm. Yeah, that's possible,
So
but Harvey didn't right until the end, but he never looked like he was going to be the strongest. So in the end, when they were with two, you could see that Harvey was mentally there to win, and maybe Ihar was not. I'm not sure, but when we were with 10 or 20 or 8, it never looked like Harvey was the strongest of them all. Like I think Ihar and the Polish guy Bartos, they looked really good, really fresh. Phil Gore, only the last few loops he wasn't doing very well, but just until 95 loops or something, he looked really, really good. So and strong. But yeah, you can. That's in backyards. You don't you shouldn't let looks of the other person misguide you. Somebody can look bad and still go on, and somebody can look good and suddenly stop. So yeah.
so at the just wanted to I wanted to personal question ask it. At the end, just 2 hours running this in Backyard Ultra, especially when you are doing 4 to 5 days, it's kind of a so it's kind of a trick from the other runner that I have to beat him or her.
Yeah, well, but you can't actually beat the other person. You can't run faster. There's no. You can be slower every loop and still win. So, yeah, it's about just if you just don't think about, because that's what I've been in the situation of being the last two several times, and if you start thinking about how long will this take, because that's an insecurity. You don't know how long it's gonna take. I've been very often you're in the end phase of a backyard. You're 24 hours with only two people. If both don't want to stop, you can be 24 hours there or 30 hours. And if the insecurity makes you think the other one is never going to stop, so I better stop myself, that's what you shouldn't do. You should be there if you want to win, to go on as long as it takes. But that's easy to say, but never easy to do. So yeah.
So at the end, Marijn, what do you want to say about the fans and the ultra runners of Pakistan, those who are going to be participate in the Margalla Backyard Ultra third editions? They will also is the Margalla Backyard Ultra is the only Backyard Ultra race in Pakistan. So the top 15 runners from here, they will qualify for the national championship, and then after that, one national championship will go for the bigs.
Mhm.
So, what's your message for them, and how you will to just encourage and motivate for the to enter into the ultras?
Well, I would say enjoy and make sure that that it's a good experience for you. Just uh, and yeah, maybe if yeah, just know with what's your ambition when you go there. If you do a backyard, if you just want to have fun, get to know people and enjoy the ultra running community, which is like you guys said, it's just the nicest community to be in. That's good. That's fine. If you also have ambition, just know what your ambition is and try to live up to it. Um, and try everything you have to make it work for you. If it doesn't work, let's say you have an ambition and something goes wrong, it doesn't work. Try to figure out what you've done, what you may have to change, and then next time try to make it a better one. But just make sure you enjoy what you're doing, um, because it's just a fantastic thing to be doing. And I
Um,
think I said,
Waqar and Bak.
yeah,
mm,
there's a question I would like to know. Do you recommend any book for our audience, especially from ultra running point of view? Is
well,
there any book?
I don't I'm not the type of running. I like to read, but when I read books, it's fiction. So I don't I know there's lots of books on ultra running out there, which are probably great books, but and they often go they talk about mindset and you should have the right mindset, which is correct. But for myself, I feel like I do have the right mindset. I that's what I found out by doing it. But maybe for backyards, I feel there's a very interesting podcast that's in English, so most of you can understand it. It's the maybe you know it. It's the Australian. It's called Backyard Ultra podcast. It's an Australian one. I think it only exists for like 1 year and a half, but there's some. If you go listen back, there's some very interesting uh, things. There's like one episode with a dietitian, like a woman who's doing like dietitian advice, nutrition advice for runners, for ultra runners, but since like 1 or 2 years also for ultra runners. And this is a very interesting thing to listen to. I'm not necessarily 100% agreeing with what she says, but she makes a lot of sense. So just if you're looking for a source on backyard ultra running, this is a very good one. Um,
Thank you
yeah,
very much for sharing. Will this help during the run?
I
Listening to podcasts?
well, I'm not sure. During the run, well, you can listen to music, yeah, if you like.
Yeah.
At Biggs, Laz didn't want us to listen to music during the day because he felt like the day course is too difficult. You should be focusing on the day course on the trail, and he's probably right. But I often listen to music at night. I know some people like to listen to podcasts more because then it gets you distracted a little bit and it makes the time go by faster, because if you're doing a very long backyard, it can get a little boring because it takes so long. um, just make sure that let's say you're listening to a very interesting podcast and you completely forget about yourself, that's what you shouldn't do. You should always, every hour, also when, let's say, when you're a very social person and you're enjoying yourself very much and you're joking around and chatting with everyone, just don't forget about what you're doing, because every hour you should at least be checking with yourself, what do I need, and so on. Just don't lose yourself in the social game completely, but if you're a social person, just enjoy it, of course. So yeah.
I just want, then I'll pass to Javed, and
Hmm.
that's about uh, in your training plan. Is there any cross training? Does you know, you do a lot of gym work, or swimming, or any different?
Well, I do some
I,
cycling. Um, I I don't have like a very good bike to go outside. Yeah, just a normal bike, but I do go cycling outside sometimes. But I once or twice a week, usually I go to the gym that's near me, where they have like a spinning class. I don't know if you know it, but that's like
yeah,
it's 1 hour. You're in a group and with some music, and then there's an instructor who tells you to go
intense
faster or
stuff.
slower, or make the resistance of the bike more difficult. So that's I think that's a good thing to do to as a cross training. Yeah, and you could do some strength training, but I don't like that very much. So I only sometimes I do this, but maybe only when I am preparing for races where there's a lot of elevation. Um, but yeah, as I said, I like to. It's a hobby for me. It's a passion and a hobby. So if I have to do too much things that I don't like, and I don't like the strength training, the boring exercises too much, they're probably good for you. But if I have to do too much of it, I might quit because it's not very interesting. So if you have to choose between doing what you like and doing what's maybe the best, but you don't like it, then uh, you should choose what you like doing the most. But cross training, probably swimming might be good. I don't like swimming that much, so but cycling and running might go together very well.
Lovely. Thank you.
Mm.
So if time
Thank
allows,
you,
can I
Marijn.
ask just one more
Dax, you
question?
have any at the end?
Yeah, just one. First of all, thank you really so very much once again. Just need your take on this, that people they use painkillers during the ultra runs and marathons. Not marathons, I mean ultra runs and backyard ultras. So I've seen people using different methodologies to manage pain. And I have background
Mm.
in medicine, so could you please tell me that what is your take on this? I mean, using paracetamols or non-steroidals, anti-inflammatory drugs,
Mm. Mm.
or maybe anti-spasmodic drugs. What do
Well,
you think? Or even use of caffeine during that?
yeah, I use caffeine. Caffeine is not really like a medicine or a drug. So you maybe if you would take very high doses of caffeine, that wouldn't be too good. But I do use caffeine, and I drink quite a lot of coffee during normal life also. So, but you can use this. And in the right moment you try to figure out for yourself what's the best moment to take the caffeine, because it doesn't work the same way for everyone. um, One advice that I had is from someone is, when you want to do a little sleep during the backyard, take something with caffeine just before you go to sleep, because you might be sleeping 10 minutes, the caffeine will work afterward. It doesn't work in the first 10 minutes, it takes some time. So that might be good advice. And for the other drugs, of course, I'm not a doctor. I didn't study medicine, but they always told me that you can take paracetamol uh, during an ultra run, but don't use like ibuprofen. So I think that's the NSAIDs. Um, because that has a big impact on your kidneys. So the doctor that's often here at the races in Belgium, he always says, if you want to take something, take paracetamol, but not ibuprofen. And that's what I do. Sometimes I take some paracetamol, just to maybe it, because I don't think it's doing much harm. So you could do that. Don't overdo it. But it takes off like the sharpness of the pain a little bit, and it could also work like as I do call it as a placebo. So if you believe it's gonna help, then it's gonna help. So just trick yourself a little bit. That's why if you're drinking stuff, like for example, it's something I thought of when I was explaining about drinking or eating. You have to give yourself some little rewards. So if you're taking stuff to drink or to eat, always take like little rewards, like something you like. For example, I like a ginger beer. So I take some of that just to every few hours to drink one like that. Just not because it's the best sports drink I could use, but if you take the best sports drink in the world and you would have to take it every hour for 3 days in a row, you would be sick of it. So you have to make sure you have some little rewards for yourself. And for medication, one thing I'm a little bit afraid of, because if there's anything that's going to stop the backyards from going further, then it's the sleep deprivation. So if you do everything right in a backyard, it feels like we could go on forever if we didn't need sleep. So if somebody would be as stupid enough to start taking drugs that keep you awake, that's when it gets dangerous, I feel. So if you want to die, that's what you should do. So so definitely don't take any drugs that keep you awake, except for maybe for some caffeine, but not anything heavy. That would be really stupid to do. So yeah, I hope that's answer to your question.
Thank you so much, Marijn. Thank you so much, Marijn. Thank you so much for your time and your expert opinion and kind of a guidance. And
It's my pleasure.
thank you so much, Waqar and Dak. And all you know that Margalla Backyard Ultra is going to be happen on the 9th of December in Islamabad, Pakistan. So the last date of registration is 4th of December. So you have to register as soon as possible. So we have to do arrangements accordingly. And once again, Marijn, Waqar, and thank you so much. We will, Marijn, we hope we will keep in touch with you and we'll take guidance from you and
Yeah,
you will share your
I hope
experience with us.
I hope you have a great race and a great experience for everyone. And I really hope next time whoever's going to be should be in Bigs, that they will get there, because it's a shame. It's a shame if you're allowed to go and you can't get there because they don't let you in or something like that. So I hope that doesn't happen again. And I'll try to follow the race a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully in the next time on Bigs, our athlete, national champion, will represent Pakistan. So hopefully he will meet with you and pay our regards to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone watching live. And in next session, we are going to be happen on the 25th of the November with Ehol Beres. He has done the 107 loops. He was the assist of Bigs Backyard Ultra. So thank you so much and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.